Hi, I'm Kassidy.
And I'm Lindsey.
Welcome to the Meraki podcast. Meraki is a Greek word that means the act of doing something with soul, creativity, or love, to put something of yourself into your work.
This podcast is for fellow photographers to encourage, inspire, and build community in the photography industry
with an ultimate goal to reflect Christ through our words and businesses.
We are inviting you into our weekly coffee dates where we talk all about our hot takes, interview other creatives who inspire us, and share our hearts with you.
Our coffee will be bold, and probably our conversations too. So pour yourself a cup, get cozy, and join us for this week's episode. We have to kick off the podcast introducing who the heck we are.
Yeah. So, Kassidy, who the heck are you?
So glad you asked. I am 28, about to turn 29. I feel like that's important to know how old I am. I'm a millennial through and through. Says a lot about who I am and how I think, honestly. But yeah, I am married to my best friend who I met in college. We were friends first before we started dating for like a good 3 years. His name is Caden, by the way. We have the same middle name, but it's spelled differently, so that's kind of fun.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
What's your middle name?
Lee.
Aww.
Yeah.
Is yours spelled Leigh?
Yeah, and then he's Lee.
That's so cute.
Yeah. So now that we have the same last name too, we almost have the same name basically.
I didn't know
because Caden and Kassidy, like everyone's like, oh, that sounds similar too. Like yeah. Anyways, but we are not similar at all in personality.
That's fun. That's fun.
So I think opposites attract. But yeah, what else about me? Hobbies. I used to have a lot more before I became a business owner. Hobbies. But I do enjoy like homemaking things. I wouldn't say homesteading. I think that would be the dream and the goal, but for now, just basic homemaking things. Or like I'm really passionate about taking a space and making it feel homey. Yeah, for sure. I'm very much affected by the way a room looks at, like aesthetically, like colors in the room and the way it's laid out and stuff like that. Absolutely. Like affects my mood and whatnot. Yeah. So yeah, I'm very passionate about that topic.
Yeah. Ooh, podcast episode.
Yes.
How to make a house at home.
No, literally.
Actually, I could also talk about that for years.
I know you can. That's like your whole
life.
Like and your tagline in your business is like that's photos that feel like home. Yeah. So you have a lot to say about homes too.
Shared interest, yeah.
Actually,
that's not gonna happen. It's gonna happen for sure because we interrupt each other all the time.
That's real life. Interrupting. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, tell me about your business.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yes. That's one thing I didn't mention.
Yeah, because that's like a lot of you too.
Yeah, I started a wedding photography business completely unintentionally which I guess sometimes I feel bad saying, but that's just the truth.
Hey.
Yeah, it just fell in my lap a little bit, and I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago. 2 years ago for sure was when I got serious about it. But yeah, it's what else? What do I say about my business?
Well, what do you do? Like, what are you most passionate about in your business? Like, what really lights you on fire? Obviously, you are a wedding photographer mostly, but like, what is like your specific passion? Like, or what really grasps you to be a wedding photographer?
Oh my gosh, that's such a good question. I feel like I could talk for like an hour about that alone. Probably just to keep it brief, I would like go back to my little like motto, theme, tagline, whatever you call it, like mission statement thing in my business that I use in like my Instagram bio. Yeah. Which is that I see myself as a gentle witness to like the natural beauty that God has created and the stories that like God is writing in someone else's life.
I love that.
I know. Thank you. I love it too.
That's what's so special about being a photographer is you can do that.
Yeah.
And you can capture that and then it's there forever.
Yeah.
Whereas if it wasn't captured, it would just be a moment fleeting by.
Right. And I think a lot of times as a creative person, it's like tempting to think you have to create an aesthetic or create beauty. Yeah. But yeah, I think that wording is so intentional. Like I'm just a witness to the beauty that already exists. I think people who are just living their lives and like being themselves and living in a moment already has like so much beauty in that. Like you don't necessarily need to add to it.
Right. Just capture what is there and celebrate what's actually there. Yeah.
And I'm such a people person. So that's another big element is like the relationships behind photography, like actually getting to know my clients or my couples and like capturing who they are and whatnot. I'm like really passionate about that.
Ooh, you and me both.
Oh, I know.
Oh, I love that. And so you've been doing weddings for 2 years now.
Yeah.
Do you do anything else? Or are you just full-time weddings?
I occupationally on paper am just a full-time wedding photographer, but I think another side full-time job I have is I volunteer with Crew, which I used to work for them, and then I kind of like quit that sort of on paper to pursue photography full-time. But when the college semester is happening, I dedicate a lot of my time to Crew because that's another huge passion of mine. You're
like a straight up missionary, just like chill on the side, like just like casually like straight up missionary on the side, like it's incredible.
So my husband works on Kutztown University's campus as a staff member with Crew, and so we're the only staff members there. Well, he's the only staff member, so I do take on a lot as the only other like female like affiliate staff. So it is very time consuming, but it's all by choice. I wouldn't have to be doing it. I just truly love meeting with the students and spurring people on in their faith and talking about the Bible with people. So yeah, that definitely takes up a huge chunk of my time as well. That's why I don't have any time for hobbies.
Yeah, that's actually the reason. And then being your own, business owner is like a full-time job and a half. So
yeah, it really
you
is.
have like 3 full-time jobs
basically, plus like marriage is a full-time job.
Right. And so being a homemaker.
Yeah
Girl,
crazy.
And now we're starting a podcast.
And why not to do more?
Life's too short not to.
Yeah.
Wow, sound incredible. Kassidy is such a cool person.
Stop.
She's just got done like traveling for the whole month too.
But that was insane. Yeah, with Crew stuff, traveling for Crew and traveling for photography. Actually, everything makes me travel.
Yeah, you did a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
Which is fun. Life's too short not to travel.
Yeah, there's a whole world out there to see.
Yeah.
Let's go see it.
Yeah.
Of course
you live in a time where there's like flights and you know you can just hop on an airplane and be anywhere in 8 hours. So
yeah, literally. So anyways, I want to hear more about you.
Ooh, okay. So surface level stuff. My name's Lindsey. Whoa. Lindsey Joy. Joy is my middle name, and also a huge part of just I want it to be part of my life. That's kind of like something that my parents gave me, but something that I've taken seriously. I just want to try to be a joyful person. Everyone has their moments where they're not a joyful person, so but that's just something that I've always wanted to be like a theme in my life because it is also my middle name. I am also married to my best friend. His name is Sam. We met when we were 16. We met on Instagram. I was born and raised in Colorado, lived there until I was 18. So we met, and he is from Pennsylvania. So we met when we were 16 on Instagram. I was living in Colorado. He was living in Pennsylvania. I don't think
I knew that either.
Really?
I knew you met young, but I don't know if I met it was literally over Instagram.
Literally over Instagram. Yep.
Like he DM'd you or something?
I actually slid into his DMs.
Love that.
Ironically,
power to you.
It was actually about one of his friends. Even worse. On a T. It was actually about one of his friends. I was actually talking to one of his friends, and then I needed to make sure his friend was okay. And I remember that he had said that he had this other friend. Wow, this sounds complicated. It was. We were 16. Whose love life is not complicated at 16? So I was just friends with this other kid, but we were all kids back then. But anyways, I reached out to Sam to check on his friend, and then we realized that we had a lot of the same interests as far as like music, and we were both into video games. That's kind of why we met. And just a little side of nerd there. And we started talking. We dated, we talked online for 9 months, and then our parents, which is honestly just a God thing, wanted us to meet. So
wow.
we wanted to meet, and our parents were okay with it. More like that. So we're born one day apart. He's one day older than me. So he flew out for the first time to meet me, and we celebrated our 17th birthdays together. Wow. And that was the first time we had ever met. We, FaceTimed and stuff a lot before then. Our parents talked on the phone. Like, we were raised very similarly, and I think it was just a God thing that our parents really got along too. Like, our moms talked on the phone.
That's so cute.
Just
actually
because
so rare.
Their 16-year-old son was just like flying to a random family in Colorado. Like, it's actually so crazy. My mom's like, my friends think I'm crazy, but they just talked on the phone. But
you got married. So.
Yeah. And then when I was 18, I moved to Pennsylvania all alone.
Wow.
And then we could really start our life together. We got married in 2020. We had a COVID wedding. We were 21 when we got married, so babies. That's wild. Still babies. But yeah, I'm 25 because Kassidy put her name out, her age out there. I'll put my age out there. I'm 25, so still baby, I guess. Not millennial. I'm that weird gap that shouldn't be Gen Z.
Yeah.
Because I didn't grow up with a phone.
Yeah.
But we're like pooled into Gen Z.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who think that there should be a generation in between, which I completely agree.
Well, because everything was changing so fast.
Yeah, I share a lot of similarities with like millennials, but also a lot of similarities with Gen Z.
Yeah.
So I'm the interesting no name.
I also think siblings make a difference. If you have a lot of older versus younger and you were in that time period, like you'll probably be pulled to like Gen Z or millennial based off of your siblings' ages.
I'm the second to last of 5, so the forgotten child.
I'm a middle child, so I'm also forgotten.
We're the forgotten children. And this is why we're starting a podcast, so we can get attention. No, just kidding.
Right?
Literally so kidding.
Still in our 20s, starving for attention.
Literally so kidding. But yeah, so my husband and I now live in a sweet little tiny cottage
that you like built.
Yeah, literally heaven on earth. We bought it in 2019, so the year before we got married, we bought it and started fixing it up. And then once we got married, we moved in together, and it's literally my favorite place on the earth. Like I've seen so much of the world, and like that little tiny 600 square foot space is like as good as it gets before heaven. So we fixed it up. It was literally a shack when we bought it, and fixed it up to it's just like it's so cute now. And so we have our own little Instagram for it too.
We should actually do a whole episode on tiny homes.
Oh yeah,
a coffee talk episode.
Yeah, we should
write that down.
Okay, I'll write it down. Because we could talk about it for so long. So love that space. And then so my business, I actually started, I got into photography when I was in high school. So when I was about 15 or 16, I think it was, when I started getting interested. But I said I would never ever take pictures of people. I was the shyest person in the entire world.
I love that.
I barely even got my first job because I was too shy. She
told me I was too shy in every way.
So opposite. So I said I could never take pictures of people, and then I did my first ever portrait shoot just with my best friend. We were like, the light's really pretty, let's go out. And it was so revolutionary for me. I was like, wow, this is actually really fun. And so I kind of started dabbling in senior portraits, very chill, but I said, okay, I'll do portraits now, but I will never, ever, ever do weddings. That is way too much pressure.
I love when people say that.
Way too much pressure. Like, what if you miss the first kiss? And too many people? No. And then I photographed my first wedding when I moved to Pennsylvania. So I guess I was 19 at the time when I photographed my first ever wedding. So what was that? That's
insane.
That was 6 years ago.
That's insane.
Yeah. Second shot. And I just realized at that moment that wow, I love my friends and family so much, and having these days, a wedding day, celebrating alongside them, that is so special. And as a photographer, I can help people capture that for themselves and literally remember that forever. And especially it really I really realized that after Sam and I's wedding day, that I remember thinking mid-wedding day, wow, I do not want any moment to slip my mind, but I cannot grasp onto any of it because it's going so fast. And that's why I think it's so important to invest in photos and a photographer that you vibe with, so that you know that they're capturing that and you can trust that. And so I love being a wedding photographer. if you would have told me that in high school, I would have laughed in your face.
No, literally same.
Because it is like a lot. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of getting to know strangers. Like, I'm on the phone with strangers all the time. Yeah. Like, that's our job.
Or you meet strangers in the middle of the woods.
Middle of nowhere. All the time. Wow, like, it's crazy. So I still feel crazy that I'm doing it, but I cannot imagine doing anything else. And I also take a very intentional approach. I, like, Kassidy and I are the same in this, that we just, like, really love to just, like, celebrate the moment as it is. I believe that the thing that makes wedding days beautiful isn't, you know, the flowers, the venue, you know, the decorations, the dress. Like, it's literally the people. Like, the couple who's just madly in love and who just, like, doesn't let anything get to them, just, like, fully enjoys the day and, like, really, like, has beautiful relationships with their friends and family. Like, that, after seeing hundreds of weddings, is, like, where it's at.
And that's what makes every wedding unique. Like, that's why they don't get tiring or boring or, like... like, it's like the people and those moments that you can't predict that will happen, but they, like, unfold on the wedding day between someone that's, like, I think you could do thousands of weddings and still go to a wedding every weekend and be like, wow, this is something I've never seen at a wedding before. Yeah. Because it's the people that are making it, like, because every person is so unique. And
and every relationship. Yeah. Like, I just had a groom do a first dance, a surprise first dance with his grandma. Like, they had the sweetest relationship. And, so like, sweet. he did one with his mom, and then he did one with his grandma, and
oh my gosh,
it was just, like, so sweet. Like, the little nuances like that.
We need to include more grandmothers and grandfathers in wedding days.
Completely agree.
Make them the flower girls. I love that trend.
I've seen that before. I love that. Give them a cute little fanny pack.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I completely agree. More grandmas, please. Another thing you should know about me is that I'm, like, such an old soul. Sam and I are the youngest by, I think, 40 years that live in the little community that we live in where our tiny house is. So we're surrounded by lovely elderly folk, and it's puts such a beautiful perspective on life. And it keeps me feeling like, it keeps reminding me to enjoy life while, you know, my joints don't hurt.
Oh my gosh,
And so Sam and I travel all the time. We can only live in our cottage spring, summer, and fall. And in the winters, we can't live there. So we typically travel through the winters, which is also unique. I have a very complicated life. And then also something that I think, as far as hobbies, I'm always, like, learning, and I also love, like, being a homemaker. I would love to be a homesteader too. Someday. And I am a forager, so I'm the crazy person who goes out and picks things from the wild and then eats them. So I forage wild mushrooms, I forage wild herbs, I'm trying to dabble into learning, like, medicine, like herbal medicine,
that's so cool.
From, like, nature. Because I believe, it's not even something you believe. God has, like, he was so intentional with his creation, and he created literally everything we need to survive. Like, he loves us that much that he did not spare any detail. And I think with modern medicine, we've just fallen away from, like, using herbs and creation and, like, God's provision to care for us. And so I think it's so beautiful to, like, you know, I have a cold, not let's go buy cough medicine, let's support my immune system and build my, you know, body up and fortify my body instead of just addressing the problem when it happens. So things like that. I'm just, like, super passionate about it. I could talk about, like, that forever, so that's where I'm gonna leave it.
It reminds me of, like, it, like, ties into the, ironically, the stuff you were saying about the elderly and stuff too, because I was thinking, like, when you were saying, like, how precious they are and whatever, there's also just, like, so much information. I don't know if it's because I'm getting into my 30s now that I'm, like, starting to appreciate, like, what it's like to have generational information passed down and, like, how important that is. But I think that's, like, so true, is that, like, somewhere along the line, like, it got lost, like, how to homestead a lot of things, and, like, all these skills that people just used to have because they learned from their parents and their parents. Like, it just stopped getting passed down, probably because we started relying on technology, honestly. But I feel like if you surround yourself with, like, elderly people who can tell you, like, what they lived through and how life was when they were teenagers or whatever, like, that's, like, good to learn. Like, yes, there's stories and whatever, but, like, you need to, like, take that in and learn from that and like apply
so much
that.
Respect from that. Yeah, like I'm starting a garden, second year starting a garden, and it's so much to learn. Like I helped my mom weed when I was like a kid, but like I never really took it in.
Yeah.
And like now all I want to do is like have my mom come over and like garden with me.
Yeah, and I'm like, I want to learn from you.
Right.
What do you know? Tell me. Because then otherwise you're just going to have to relearn it yourself, which is wasting time.
I know. Yeah. And I'm like, I would actually just rather have it also learning, but also building community. And I think that's something that our generation has completely bypassed because you can find anything on Google and now anything with AI. Like,
yeah, you don't need to ask your neighbor, like,
no,
for anything.
No. You can just look it up on ChatGPT. And I hate that. So... Hot take.
Hot take. We hate AI. Yeah. No, we shouldn't say that because it's probably listening and we have to speak nicely to it because it's listening.
Heck yeah. No, I do not care. I hate AI.
I hate it and I'm afraid of it. Well, you hate the things that it's actually like a very carnal sin is to like hate the things that are unfamiliar too. That's not the only reason we hate AI, but
yeah, it's not just
I'm scared of it because it's like unfamiliar, so it's like a reason to not like it.
Yeah, well, I
don't. Very deep.
I don't want to shed all my feelings right now about it, but so that's me. I kind of got really long-winded. It was kind of but that's me.
Yeah, well, we have to get it all out now. I feel like you guys have to know us because that's what this whole podcast is about, which we're going to talk more about too. But just like this is a community, and we have to know each other. Yeah,
very foundational. Like feel like both of us feel so strongly that like. We are, like, our personalities and our life and what we love the most about life is intimately tied into what we do and why we do it.
Yeah.
Like, that's
not separate. Though? How do you separate them?
So many people do. They like, what their job is just to make money, and they hate it.
Yeah.
And they live for the 2 days they get on the weekend to have a life.
Right.
And both of us feel so strongly that that's, like, not for us.
No.
And so
it's not for anyone, but...
Not...
If you're in that lifestyle, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so that's like, so getting to know us is important because we are who we are, and that's just take it or leave it, I guess.
Yeah. Love us or hate us.
First podcast episode. This is who we are. Love it or leave it. This is your only chance. No, give us a chance. We're cool.
And if you love it, you can let us know, and if you hate it, don't say anything. Just stop listening.
We don't have the mental capacity for hate right now. We're small business owners.
Yeah, I give myself enough hate, so...
Oh my gosh, yeah, if you knew what goes on in my head.
Literally.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Well, next we should tell the listeners how we met.
Yes! Which is also, tied into that sort of, just to recap, something I thought is cool about, like, the dynamic of this podcast between you and me is how long you've been in the wedding industry for and like photography versus how new I am. I feel like that's cool. Two different insights into it.
Well, and there were two different generations. I guess I never like stopped to think about that until we were just talking now. Mm-hmm. Like, even though we only have like 4 years separating us,
right?
We are definitely grown up in two different times.
Yeah,
and two different cultures. Right. Both of our upbringings were very different.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So all these topics, although we find ourselves agreeing a lot, I think we also do have very different insight because of that. So
and I think there are things that we disagree on in a cool way. Yeah. And so I think it's going to be really fun to see because like we also haven't been friends forever.
No.
You know, so I think there's things that we're still like, even just in this introduction, there's things that we were like, oh my gosh, really? I didn't know that. Right. And so I think this is fun that we're starting a podcast this young in our friendship because there's going to be a lot of things that we just are like learning about each other.
Like doing it live, recorded.
Yeah, straight up right in front of you guys. So,
which does go into how we met and like when we met and all that. So was it a year ago?
It was over a year. It was like a year and a half ago probably because it was in the summer.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because we're talking about Golden Hour.
Well, that is almost.
Do you want to tell it?
Yeah, because I slid into your DMs.
Ooh, that's how real relationships start.
Instagram is where real relationships start.
Not sponsored.
Oh my gosh. No, really though. So I was like looking up on Instagram a location I was going to shoot at because it was Peace Valley Park. Because I had never shot there before, but I suggested it to the couple and they went for it. So I was like, oh, I should probably know a little bit more about it.
If that's not the most Kassidy thing. You're like, I love this location. That's great. What spot do you like,
wait. So I looked up what other photographers, like you can look locations up on Instagram and then like specifically look for like if photographers have tagged that location. So I was kind of doing that, and then I came across a post that was gorgeous. I loved the editing style, and the couple just post so like authentically and naturally, and so I was like, oh, these are very whimsical, and I just love it. So I was like, let me just reach out to the photographer. Maybe they would share like my main concerns or where the heck to park because I didn't. It's it's like a huge area and like a trail and stuff, and
it's confusing.
Yeah, so I wanted to know like where you park your car, if there's like a parking lot or whatever, and then what direction the sun sets in is like the other important thing because we were obviously shooting at golden hour, and I wanted the sun like behind the clients, preferably like on the other side of the water because there was a river like right there that we were going to be shooting at. So I wanted to line the sun up well with the water. And you had done that in your photos. So,
yeah.
Well, spoiler alert, I don't think I officially said it, but it's quite obvious. The person who posted those photos was Lindsey. And so, but here's the other thing in the photography world is that like some photographers like gatekeep locations. Yeah. Which obviously like you didn't necessarily because you had tagged them in that location in the post. Yeah. But still, like, if you had scouted out a specific area that you love to use, like, some photographers would not share that with another, especially a total stranger photographer.
Right.
Because what if I ruined your spot or something?
Yeah, or, like, stole my clients.
Yeah, like, you never know.
Well, and we also had, and still do, we have a very similar editing style. And so I guess I could have easily like looked at you and been like, I'm not telling her like where this is at because she could easily like my clientele could also be her clientele because we have similar approach and editing style. But I didn't because I know how it feels to like have people not gatekeep or do gatekeep, like how nasty it feels for you to be like reach out and go out, like putting yourself out there is hard, like sliding into the DMs of a random photographer, like you don't know how they're going to approach you.
Oh yeah, and, like I was prepared for you to be like not even answer me at all or be worse and answer meanly.
I feel like I gave you like so much information.
Wait, you should scroll. Okay. No, actually you did. I do remember that. You not only shared the location with me, but you went like above. I think you even complimented me. And you like went above and beyond with sharing with me like not just one spot, but 2 spots you like to use there. Like you went above and beyond. She's going to scroll back and look.
This is going to take 5 years because we send each other reels all the time. So, but yeah, so we met because Kassidy reached out, for location advice. And I shoot at Peace Valley all the time. I actually love it there. Actually, Sam and I got engaged there.
I did not know that.
Yeah, on the other side, not on the pretty side. Okay. Well, both sides are pretty, but not on the golden hour side. Yeah. Not me giving away the location on the podcast.
Clearly not a gatekeeper.
If you need Peace Valley information, DM me. And then let's be friends. Just kidding. Which is like so not me. So then Kassidy and I then, because we realized like, oh wait, we're both believers, we have similar editing style, similar approach, we kind of just like started talking from then. Yeah. I'm realizing that both, like a lot of my close relationships start on Instagram. DMs.
We're realizing that right now.
So we got close.
Like really fast.
Yeah, and then like I've never been the kind of person who like makes a lot of friends, like because I am so shy, like even though I have grown out of that, I can be extroverted now when I need to be. I just need to recharge. I was just like having a hard time like making really good connections in Pennsylvania and making good connections in the photography industry, and so I was like really hungering for that, and like because of our conversations that we were having over DMs, I was like, I feel like we would really jive really well. So I think did I ask you on?
I think you initiated the coffee date. Yeah.
Good job. Thank you. I asked her first date. So we went on our first coffee date. What was it? We just went. It was just a year in February, right? It was in February, I think. Yeah, so we were both in our slower seasons. Yeah. Met at Brakeman's Cafe when they still allowed laptops.
Which I think they do again.
Okay, we need to talk to them.
I saw someone there with a laptop.
Okay, hot take. We need to talk to them about it. And so I think we like got so deep, even the first conversation. Yeah. I remember leaving that coffee date thinking like, oh my gosh, like I've never talked about a lot of these things with anyone besides Sam. Yeah. Just like in general. And like we just talked about it like for hours.
Oh, I feel honored.
Yeah, like, I feel like we've, like, been, like, had a very, like, deep, like, conversations from the beginning.
Yeah, we did. We definitely did. I can't believe you're still scrolling.
Not me still scrolling.
This whole time we've been talking, you've been scrolling, and you're not.
I kind of took a break because I got distracted, but we're in July 2020.
Okay, we're close. Oh, it was a COVID year.
No, I don't. No, 20. I was just.
Oh, you stopped. You stopped your number.
Or in May. It's coming up soon, I think. But yeah.
I do also remember having the same reaction after, like, similar, after leaving the coffee shop. I just felt so, like, refreshed. I was like, wow.
Yeah,
it was so life-giving.
And that was, like, coming off of a year where I had, like, a lot of, like, really bad experiences with fellow photographers. Just some disheartening things. Just kind of, like, losing a little bit of faith in, like, just some friendships that I was trying to build. And yeah, I don't know. It was just like a rough year for me as far as the community and trying to make friends. And yeah, I feel like that was like just, it was so encouraging.
Yeah. Which is like half of the branch into like another thing we wanted to talk about in this intro episode was like how, or like why we wanted to start a podcast. And honestly, it was like born out of every time we hung out. Oh gosh, you finally found it.
I found it. It was October 17th, 2022.
Okay, write that down so we can celebrate our meeting. Is that how we met? Would you call this?
That's how we met. Oh, that was a pretty session. Oh,
it was so pretty. Wait, and then wait a second. Didn't I end up? No, I didn't. Yes, is that Leah and No.
Did you? No, this is Kayla and Andrew.
Okay, I was like, for a second I thought I ended up second shooting their wedding with you, but I did not. I got them mixed up,
but you did second shoot for, Leah and Merritt, though.
Yeah, I thought that was them for a second. But
and their photos were also at Peace Valley.
Oh, maybe that's what... Okay.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I sent you like 2 long messages. Aww. Okay. I'm not going to read this right now because then I'm going to fall silent. But yeah, October 2022.
But you did give me a lot of information back of my original. I think you even complimented me though, right? Didn't you? Weren't you like, oh my gosh, your work is nice? Something like that.
I think so.
And you even asked for me. You were like, I hope, like, let me know how it goes or something like that.
Yeah, I think. And then I then like stalked your Instagram to find the session once you did it and was like all over.
Actually, that's the couple. Ironically, that's the couple that booked me for their wedding destination. Who were my first ever destination wedding. It was that couple.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, full circle.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
Wild? Small world.
Wait, and then you offered. Then you were like, if you ever need advice on shooting at these 2 locations, let me know, because then I'll send you what I've learned to return the favor. And then you did the smirk emoji. No,
I didn't. I'm being so weird. I'm weird. Oh my gosh, that is really flirty. Why would I do that?
I haven't used the smirk emoji in like so long.
I do love the smirk emoji, but to a stranger?
We were really all about not gatekeeping the information.
No, I'm all about, like, you gotta just be yourself up front. That's, like, goes back to the joke you were making earlier. This is who I am. Take me or leave me.
Yep, this is it. And then I asked you to second shoot right away.
No way.
Yeah.
Well, that was brave of you.
Yeah, I didn't know you at all.
Yeah. I'm a newbie photographer.
That is true. You were new.
But it worked out.
I think
I did okay for
I
you.
can see talent when I see it, or notice talent when I see it. Yeah. Cute.
Okay, wait, I wanted to segue into why we're starting a podcast. Because
that's important.
It was because of all of our, you were saying how we have deep conversations, especially the first time we met, but then every conversation after that. I actually specifically remember after, I think you were second shooting a wedding for me, and we were driving back. Like, we parked your car, like, halfway in between or something. Or maybe the other way around. But we were doing a wedding together. And it was, like, the end of the night. We just worked a whole wedding together. But we sat in that car and probably talked for, like, an hour.
And we, like, cried, too.
Yeah, it's about really deep things.
We cried about. Yeah.
And they were, like, all over the board from, like, it was mostly, like, it usually always is how our faith intercedes with our business.
Yes.
Like, how the 2 exist together.
Yeah.
And how a lot of our faith is what motivates our business mindset and stuff. So we just talked for so long, and that was like one of the key moments where we were like, man, I just wish there were more people like having conversations like this, or like I just wish there was a podcast that was talking about these things, because we wanted to talk about them more, and we can't be the only ones who think this way and are talking like this. So we just kept saying, oh, I just wish there was a podcast that talked about these things. Yeah. And then one day we were like, okay, what if we became that podcast if we desired so badly?
Yeah, and just like something like, just like intentional and deep, but also just like casual too, and like fun. Just like, just something that you can just like listen to like as you're editing, like as you're like doing dishes, that like sometimes like education, like you feel like you can't like multitask with it because, you know, you have to like, oh, like this is such good information, I need to write this down. Or like sometimes for me it stresses me out. Like I'm like, oh wow, I need to change this about my business right now or I'm gonna be failing. That's just how my mind works. And so sometimes like I was hungering for like a podcast that I could listen to while editing that doesn't actually add like stress and anxiety. Right. You know? Yeah. But also still is inspiring. Yes. And still like gets you thinking, and you know, it's just like still inspiring and encouraging, but not like adding
not like you need to give it your undivided attention.
Something that's like refreshing.
Yeah absolutely.
And like every single time we got together, we would just like have these conversations where we're like, wow, I think more people need to hear about this.
Yeah, I think more people would definitely, like, we can't be the only ones who are having these hot takes or whatever it is.
Or even just these, like, hardships, because I think a lot of times, like, you can be on Instagram and looking through other photographers' websites, and you're like, wow, they have it all together. Like, you know, it's so easy to just compare, especially even with people you admire or know. Like, it can be easy to just be like, oh, I wish I was like that, or they look like they have it's so easy in their business. And I think that even just like being real and like having, you know, even just talking through the things we're going through in our business, like to, you know, either encourage or maybe it will be helpful to other photographers too, just like being raw and real about the things we're going through.
Yeah, because I love my husband, but sometimes it takes him more to try to explain the mindset and like the depths of like a business owner, and also being creative business owner, and just all the things.
And it's just the emotions that are attached to it too.
Yes.
Like, give them our whole heart and soul.
Sometimes it's a lot easier to talk to somebody who like already gets it than having to explain and then share. Explain and then share.
Yes. Well, and that's like literally, so our podcast name is Meraki, and it's derived from the Greek language, and we really felt like the definition of this word was just so exactly our intention. So the definition is to do something with soul, creativity, or love, to put something of yourself into your work. And so I just feel like that's just like the best way to explain it, like how it feels to be a photographer. And then also just both of our approaches to just life. Like, why not do something with your life and your work that you can put your soul into, that you want to put your soul into, and that in turn like actually lights you up.
Yes, absolutely. And I think part of that is being a creative person, where that comes from. I think part of that also comes from like our faith too, and like doing something with the fullness. So I feel like that's what glorifies the Lord too, though. Right. Especially if he's given you this talent and whatever, and then if you actually like do it with full purpose and intention, like that's bringing glory to
Lord. Like using your business as a mission field. Like that's something that I've always wanted. And like I pray all the time, like, God, this business is yours, not mine. Like, yes, it's my name, but like this is you. Like every single like consultation call before, or I try to every time before a consultation call, just pray like, if this couple is for me and needs what I have, then let it be clear. If this is not like a good fit, like let it be clear, because that's only like truly the only reason I'm doing this. Right. I could really care less about making money.
No, agreed. And I, especially like with my story and how I even fell into photography, felt very much like I literally only have this because the Lord gave it to me, because I did not pursue it. I did not think I would ever be a photographer, nonetheless a wedding photographer. Yeah. And how fast my business grew, I was like, okay, so I will pursue this as long as the Lord is clearly like bringing me down this path. And like, should he ever close the store, like that's also fine, because this business has been his from the beginning to like do with as he pleases. Yeah. And I'm so grateful. He's like he, like, definitely, for sure, like, people say this all the time, like, oh, God has the best plans for you or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But, like, I feel like this just proved to me and my faith that the Lord truly does know me and have good things planned for me because of my love for people and my love for travel and how that, like, those two things came to combine in a creative way. Yeah. In a way that I didn't even realize, like, how good this job would be for me.
Like, being a wedding photographer, I feel like I heard this one time, and it's, like, it resonated with me so much. It feels like, I don't know the right word for it. It feels like it's, like, breaking the system. Like, being a wedding photographer.
Like, cheating.
Yeah, I'm like,
the system.
Is this allowed?
Am I allowed to have this much fun?
This is incredible. Is this, like, okay? Yeah, that's how I feel.
No, I do feel very privileged, like being your own boss.
Yeah,
and stuff.
So thankful.
Just so privileged. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess that's why we wanted to start a podcast, is just to really share our hearts, and and we also are very opinionated as well. So we have just like opinions and thoughts on certain things that either happen in the wedding industry or just maybe even just like unique approaches. Yeah. That we wanted to kind of get out there to just be maybe a new fresh perspective, maybe something you already have thought about, but maybe didn't even put into words quite yet. And something that, you know, sometimes like might be different than your mindset, but also might be encouraging at the same time. So we also wanted to, start a podcast because we have opinions, and there will be some opinionated episodes.
Oh yeah, our hot takes
and
are gonna be spicy.
Yeah, so I guess that also gets into kind of what we're going to be doing, like what to expect from this. We have a few different categories, and like each episode is going to be kind of titled one of these 4. So that gets, maybe we'll just start with the hot takes since we just kind of started talking about that. Do you want to explain what the hot takes are going to be, Kassidy?
Okay, yeah. So the hot takes are going to be basically things that you and I, again, like something that you and I just found ourselves like seeing on social media, or probably something that's like pushed in the wedding industry. I feel like is usually how we come across these hot takes. Yeah. And they're like trending or popular or buzzwords, things like that we kind of just disagree with and want to push back against a little bit. Yeah. Some are like little, like not too spicy. Some are probably like gonna ruffle some feathers. Like, I don't know. Hopefully not offend anybody. I'm not trying to, but I feel like I think it's more so from a place of like, I've also seen other photographers pushing back against like some trends, and like especially when they're presented in a way of like, this is fading out and every photographer should be doing this now, like things like that. That's like, well, I don't know.
Just foundationally going with the grain is not.
Yeah, it's okay to still be independently creative and stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sometimes I feel like the wedding industry can be like an ocean, and like all the waves flow in the same direction.
Dang. Whoa. It's really profound.
And I want to be
a boat.
What breaks the waves? I want to be those scary rocks on the shore that make it splash. I actually hate the ocean. I don't know why I'm using that.
What? I love the ocean!
See, and that's another thing we differ on.
Lindsay's a mountain girl and I'm a beach
woods.
Girl. Yeah.
That's all I need. Cassie just wants to lay on the beach.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Or a lake. Because lakes have some woods and some
You know what
beaches.
I'm okay with?
We can meet in the middle of the lake. Yes.
Yeah. That's what I'm okay with. But yeah. That's good. We can go on a hike and then go in the water.
Yeah. Yeah.
There we go.
Exactly.
All right.
But yeah, so basically what you can expect from our podcast is weekly episodes. But so we're going to do like 4 different topics throughout a month. Yeah. So each week of a month will be like a different rotation of these 4 main categories that our podcast will be about. So the 4 categories are hot takes, which we just explained. The other category is a coffee talk. So why don't you explain, Lindsay, what a coffee talk is? Yeah, so a coffee talk is essentially just inviting you guys into our coffee dates, because that's literally how our friendship started, or, you know, blossomed, was our coffee dates. And because we would always just have like the most genuine, like, I don't know, deep conversations, or just like all over conversations, just really inviting you guys into
our coffee date, and so we'll be brewing coffee together. We both just love coffee and survive on coffee. Could not do what we do without caffeine.
I'm an addict. It's fine.
Yep. And so
it's my whole personality, actually.
It actually is.
Yeah,
me too. I actually have a coffee plant tattooed on my arm.
Oh, that's so true.
I was a barista for my first ever job.
You might have me beat.
I actually attest a lot of my like growing in my personality to that first job, because my boss was like so sweet on like pushing me to like be good at customer service, and like then obviously working in a coffee shop you have to know how to do small talk and stuff like that, and I think that really developed me as a person. Anyways, wow. Yeah, so coffee date. So we're gonna, you guys are just
stuff like that, basically.
Exactly like that. We're not gonna necessarily have a script for these. We're gonna have maybe like one little topic that we'll specifically talk about for a little bit, but we just want to like sit down, and even just these episodes probably are just even going to be us catching up on like what's going on in our lives and our businesses, and talking through just our thoughts, and just kind of having a coffee date together.
Yeah, definitely a lot of like sharing our hearts on different things. Yeah, a lot of it will probably be businessy, but also like sharing our hearts on just life, in general,
and things like that we're interested in too.
Things we're interested in.
This is where you would probably hear more about, like
foraging,
probably
homegrown.
Yeah, and like making a home, cozy and things like that. So that's going to be our coffee talks category. And then the next category is interviewing. So do you want to explain the interviewing?
Yeah, so that's exactly what it sounds like. We're not interviewing each other, but we will be bringing on like a third guest. Well, a guest who's the third person in the podcast. Yep. We were actually just talking before we like hit record on this podcast that we really want our interview guests to be people who are like kind of local and just similar to us, in the sense that like, I don't want to say like nobodies, but just people that would be like super relatable to our listeners, and but also like somehow niched in like what they do. So we have like a few names in the back of our minds we want to bring on. We definitely want to bring on both of our husbands at the same time and let them be interviewed, because we just know that's going to be like an amazing, absolutely hilarious and like out of pocket episode.
Oh my, we will not know what to expect. Like questions like, how is Kassidy when she gets home from a 12-hour wedding day?
Yeah. Tell us. like the inside life behind the door of a photographer.
The husbands of wedding photographers.
Yes.
Real raw.
And they are both nerdy too, though. And they're we're gonna let them nerd out together on all things like geeky.
I'm so curious to see how this is gonna go.
So funny. So like stuff like that I think would be good. And then the last category to get us through the month is an educational episode. So why don't you go ahead and debrief what the heck that means?
I mean, that's also pretty self-explanatory. I think both Kassidy and I feel like we both excel in certain things, and I'm really excited to be able to, just kind of educate with our perspectives, and we're not educators at all, neither of us are, but just maybe using our expertise to shed light on a new perspective for you, and something that will hopefully be educational and useful in your business. So there's probably gonna be some educational ones that are like really light. Again, like we don't want this to be something where you're feeling pressure or like stress to like do all these things to make your business successful, but it's maybe going to be more of like maybe a new approach that you can take to helping your couples feel comfortable, things like that. It's going to be like chill education, but we're excited about the educational side of it too.
I think experience gives you is really the only qualification that we have, but I think that you need in order to be able to like just share what we have experienced and just share what we know. I feel like that's really how I learned in photography, was just learning from others, and it didn't necessarily mean I took 100% of what they said and applied it, but even just like one little nugget of a different perspective or just like experience that they had that I'm like, oh, that's good to know, let me like apply that, or let me run with that, or whatever it is. So.
So I'm excited about that also. I feel like because you are like in like a new photographer, I feel like there's certain things that you do that like almost like break certain rules that I have for myself in my mind. Like I was thinking about that when we were talking about like direct light photos because you've been like vibing with that. And to me, that's like not actually, but like
you're like, I have to avoid that.
That was always something that was like X'd out in my mind. Like, that's against the rules. Yeah, that's avoid at all costs. And so I think it's cool because I don't know, I feel like I have more rules for myself than you do, and so I think it's gonna be cool to like, I don't know, even just like learn from each other while we're like doing the educational things. Yeah, definitely. Because there's definitely been things that you have said that I'm like, wait, that's a thing? Like, right. I should be doing that? Yeah, and vice versa, too. Like, it's going to be super cool. So, we're going to be learning along with you. Yes, absolutely. Because, I mean, neither of us went to school for this. No. So, I took, like, one class. Okay, do you want to know a funny story? Yeah. I took a photography class in college as an elective. Like, it was supposed to, like, just be for fun. Because obviously, I was, like, interested in photography. I was like, that sounds cool. Like, a cool way to use my elective or whatever. So it was just like an extra class, and I failed the first assignment. Actually, it was literally just because I didn't include like a copyright in Photoshop, which was apparently a big deal to copyright your own work. So it was like automatic failure for not doing it. But it brought my whole GPA down, and since it was just like an extra credit I was taking, I just withdrew from the class like only like 2 weeks in. So that's my extent of my photography like education. I failed out. That is hilarious. That's a good marketing ploy. Just kidding. That's awesome though. That's great. Yeah. I love that story. Yeah, right? It almost brought down your whole college education. No, literally. And that's the only experience I have with education. And then I became a professional. My only experience in college at all, I don't even have a degree. This is a conversation for another episode. Oh, is it? No, you have to say my crazy college story. I was enrolled in a college that was specified for photography and graphic design. Oh, yeah. And I was going for graphic design. You're like, I'm not a photographer. I'm not interested in that. Well, I was like, at that point, I was already a photographer, so I was like, I don't need to know that. But actually, that college closed. I was enrolled and everything, and that college closed 2 months before I was supposed to move all the way out to Pennsylvania. Oh, my God. And start school. Yeah. Straight up closed. Did you apply to that for Sam? Did you already talk to Sam? Is that why it was PA? Yeah, well, that's why I was going to PA, so we could finally start our life together as normal people. And then the whole school closed 2 months before. I'm like, if that is not a closed door, like, that is the definition. You're not meant to be a graphic designer, is what that was. Well, maybe. Yeah, maybe. And so, that's true. Wow, that's crazy. I never thought about that perspective. Yeah, so actually, my parents wanted me to wait and stay in Colorado until I had an actual plan. That was the longest, 6 months of my entire life. Wow. And actually found shabby little it was actually community college. I didn't know that at the time, but I started going there because that's what my parents wanted me to do, or that's what I thought I should do as well. And I think it was 2 semesters in, I realized that this was a waste of my time and money, and I quit. Well, yeah, it is for a lot of people. Yeah, and I'm so thankful I never finished because now I don't have college debt. Yeah. And I'm just so thankful for that. Yeah. I saved the rest of my college fund and just invested in my photography education. That's pretty smart. And and really went from there. We'll do financial advice too. Just kidding. I don't know if you can give out financial advice. I'm a saver. Skip college. That can be a hot take if we need it to be, because I have a lot of opinions, but... Oh my gosh. Okay, wait, we should just end on one more funny story. I wanted to say this earlier that I forgot because we rabbit trailed, which is fine, but... Oh, we always rabbit trail. That will happen so many times, but we can end on the story of because when we were talking about the name of our podcast... Oh my gosh! And how we picked it... You guys should just know the full story of why we're called... Oh, shoot. See, now I'm not even going to be able to... The Meraki podcast. So we were definitely cheating a little bit and actually just scrolling through Pinterest. And I think we both looked up, literally on Pinterest, we searched pretty words. I think that's literally what it was. We're looking up. How else do you choose any business name? How else do you use Pinterest if you're not looking up pretty things?
And so, yep, we were just scrolling through, and I think we were FaceTiming. We were doing this on FaceTime, so we were not physically together, but I think we came across the word at the same exact time and read the definition, and we're like, well, if that isn't the most perfect thing I've ever read, like, that's so us. And so we tried to pronounce the word, which is spelled Meraki. And so I'm nervous to, like, say this because we're trying to not say this anymore. Basically, Lindsay and I started pronouncing the word wrong from the beginning because we didn't.
I don't even want to say it.
We didn't think to look it up.
It's a Greek word, too. And we were just like, oh, yeah, we know how to pronounce it.
It's pronounced like this.
No.
We said it for weeks wrong.
No, it was like months. 2 months.
Wrong, incorrectly. And then we were like, okay, let's start this podcast officially. So then, I don't know who had the brilliant idea of, like, we should just make sure we're saying this word correctly.
Kaden was like, are you pronouncing it right?
And we were pronouncing it wrong.
Like, so wrong.
Oh, but now we can't get the wrong version out of our heads. And it's so bad, and we did this to ourselves. But Meraki is correct. I don't even want to say what we were saying wrong because I'm trying so hard to get it out of my head.
Yeah, we can't say it. It shall not be named because
we were saying, just know we were saying the word terribly wrong.
So we have to think about it like America.
Yeah, Meraki.
So Meraki. Oh, I almost said it wrong.
Yeah, I know.
I just about did. Oh gosh.
But if you think about the word Meraki, think about how else you would pronounce that, because that. What you're thinking it is probably what we were saying.
Say it out loud right now, and it's wrong.
It's probably what we were also saying. Say it as American as you possibly can. That's what we were doing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Are we toxic Americans?
Well, it's not our fault that it's our first language.
Dang it. Shoot, I wish it wasn't. No, just kidding.
I know. I wish I was actually bilingual, for real.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
I've always admired people who can speak more than one language. I really tried to speak Spanish, but
you have to learn it young. It's just so much easier if you start.
Well, my mom tried to start young.
Oh, she did?
Well, in high school. I guess that's
not younger.
Yeah.
It's too late by then.
Yeah, my brain is locked in.
Actually, I studied this in college as an English and professional writing major. We took a class on language, and we learned, I think it's by age 13 or 14, there's a part of your brain that is fully developed. That is your language learning part of your brain.
Wow.
So if you don't introduce a language before that age, your ability to learn that language is really, it gets harder, a lot harder to learn a new language after that age.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I know. So you have to begin as a kid.
Okay, well, yeah, I started in high school.
Because think about how young, babies who can't even talk can still understand language.
That's true.
You learn so young.
My nephew is, once he starts talking, he's most likely going to be able to speak both English and Spanish because his mom's Peruvian and his dad's English American.
If he's hearing that before he's even able to put it back out again, he's already learning it.
Yeah, so it's going to be really cool.
Lucky him.
Because, he does the same, sign language or, whatever I think it's, baby sign language.
They can teach baby sign language,
Yeah, so he does the same baby sign language if, someone says the same word in Spanish or English. So he is, understanding it. It's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
I just did a wedding, and there was a flower girl who was, 2 years old, and she spoke English and French, and it was so cute.
French?
Yes.
I cannot.
Because her dad's French, and her mom's American.
That's so sweet.
It was adorable. A little toddler, trying to speak French was so cute.
Well, I know in, the Asian culture, they start kids, not only in school at, the age 3, but also learning 2 languages at that age.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Super cool.
Anyways.
But not for us. We didn't do that.
Too late.
And we cannot pronounce the name of our podcast.
Now we're in a pickle.
Shoot.
Oh my gosh. So that's it. This is our first podcast.
This is us. It is just going to be this. Just genuine, and I think it's going to be entertaining.
Yeah. We'll try to not make them so long with you and with all of our rabbit trails.
No promises. Again, if you're just turning this on while you're editing, though, time goes fast.
Yeah, we'll get you through your editing. Don't you worry.
We'll get you through hand in hand. We're there with you. Probably also editing.
Probably also.
Dead.
Yeah. We're also recording this during busy season, so we should be
editing. Thinking about editing right now. Shoot.
It was a good break, though. From editing.
Yeah. It's going to be good for us, I think, also for our business. I think I was listening to a different podcast this week, and it was just saying how, sometimes, you shouldn't niche down. not as far as like, I think you should niche down as far as your business, but not niche down your life. Like, don't box yourself in to be like, this is all I do.
Right.
Like, Sam, like, when I was telling my husband Sam about this, he's like, why are you starting a podcast? Like, that's kind of crazy. And for a while, I was, like, doubting, like, wow, maybe I don't even have time for this. I was actually even kind of doubting it this morning.
So it's Sam's fault.
Well, no, he always just says the things that I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Like, he asks really good questions, and then that makes me stop and think about it. And so I've been thinking about it a lot this morning. Like, wow, is this even stupid to, like, start this? Because
it is a little crazy.
It is a little crazy. We're both full-time wedding photographers who also really just want to enjoy life and like be part of, you know, our husbands' lives and, you know, like not work super like long hours, but now we're starting a podcast. But I think it's going to be so good for even just us individually, like to grow and like, and also like because we both have such an intentional approach to our couples and the way we do things, I think it's going to really grow that side of us as well and like grow thinking about things differently. Just being different and setting ourselves apart.
Yeah, absolutely.
And hopefully setting, you know, encouraging you to set yourself apart too. You said the listener. You are the listener. You
right there in that mic.
Sitting in your bedroom. Or in your car.
Or in who knows where you're listening to this.
Also, I think I don't know if we kind of like mentioned this or if it was just super brief, but we're also going to be starting every single episode drinking coffee and talking about what coffee we're drinking because we both have expensive taste buds and good coffee is important. So,
and that's the other thing we're going to be educating you on. Good coffee.
I could do an episode. How to make good coffee. We can do that. Yes. We will teach you how to make good coffee.
Yeah.
From ex-barista and a passionate coffee drinker.
Yeah, honestly, I learned during COVID when cafes closed down. And I had to have that coffee fix at home.
There you go.
And now it's gotten bad where it's like, I actually prefer the way I make it over a lot of cafes.
Me too.
Yeah, like I've perfected it at home where I'm like, I don't know that the person at the cafe is going to make it like how I make it. Saves me money though.
You cannot turn back now.
No, I'm too deep. I'm too far.
So we're going to start each episode talking about what coffee we're drinking. And hopefully you'll also have a cup of coffee with you while you're listening to the episode.
It's mandatory.
Because caffeine is essential for life.
Yeah.
If you don't drink coffee, that's okay. There's other options. We love you still,
though. Caffeine is the source of life.
And I know a lot of people, my husband, who
doesn't drink it,
survive really good lives without coffee, so... Please do not think that you can't listen to this podcast.
Jokes.
If you don't like
jokes.
coffee.
We're making jokes.
We're really backpedaling.
Yeah, we're ending the episode talking about how we're going to start every other episode.
Oh. See, we're new at this.
Yeah, but then when you start the next episode, it'll flow right into, you'll hear us talking about coffee. So we'll see you over there.
See you next week. Tune in for next week. When we're talking about, what are we talking about next week?
Next week is going to be a coffee talk. So,
that's perfect.
So if you end this episode and immediately click on our next one, you'll hear us talking about coffee.
You'll hear us talking about coffee. And we're going to be talking about, we're each going to be sharing about how we started our businesses, right?
Yeah, you'll hear a lot more about how we actually got started.
Yeah.
In photography.
More in depth and like our approach and everything like that. So definitely give that a listen because it's going to be fun. It's going to be entertaining. I think it's going to be entertaining.
I think it's going to be, I think we both have crazy wild stories.
I have some fun stories to share.
Not your normal.
My first ever wedding has a crazy story to share. I don't know if you know about it.
Well, we'll find out.
And it's actually shocking that I was like, I wouldn't be a wedding photographer after this story.
Oh my gosh.
So
what a
tune in for next week.
Cliffhanger.
Okay. We love it.
Bye.
See ya.